San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick causing a fire, literally. Fans, or ex-fans, burning his jersey, and it's all because Kaepernick refuses to stand for our national anthem. The quarterback standing by his decision, saying our country oppresses black people. And as you can guess, many are outraged.
There's a lot of things that need to change. One specifically is police brutality.
Very courageous, yes, very courageous, to sit on your ass as a third-string quarterback likely to be cut. Very, very, very courageous.
There are a lot of things that are going on that are unjust.
I find the words of Colin Kaepernick reprehensible, despicable, and disgusting.
You, Mr. Kaepernick, if you don't love our country, get the out of it, okay?
I understand his point of view, but I don't think that was the right arena to do so.
Sit on your butt in the country that made you the star and the wealthy millionaire that you are.
Former Florida Congressman and Executive Director of the National Center for Policy Analysis, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West goes on the record. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Greta. How are you?
I'm very well. Well, I read something you posted. You blasted Kaepernick.
Well, look, I come from a family of servants. My father was born in 1920 and served in World War II at a time when he truly knew what oppression meant. He was not afforded all the rights and privileges that other Americans were, but when he sat me down as a young man on the steps of our home in Atlanta, Georgia, in an inner city neighborhood, he told me that there's no greater honor, no greater privilege than wearing the uniform of the United States of America. And when Colin Kaepernick sits down and does not respect the flag, the same flag that draped the coffin of my father, a World War II veteran, I do take umbrage with that.
I suppose it didn't help with his fans is that I don't know if he's known for doing much in the community, but he's a wealthy man. He's paid a lot of money. He earns it. He's a great football player. But I think that there is, it seems to me that he might have found a better way to express his political opinion. It might have been better if he were out in the community helping, perhaps, or at least had done something to that effect, rather than sitting down.
Yeah. Well, you're absolutely right. And I think that when you look at the young man, he is just parroting talking points, because I want to ask him, how do you really define oppression in the United States of America? Because as I look at what's happening in the black community, it is not the oppression coming from, this great nation or this country. Everyone has an equality of opportunity. But when you look at the ails of this community, you look at the fact that two young black men, 26 and 22, two brothers, just shot the cousin of Dwayne Wade, an NBA star. How do we go so wrong in the community? Look at the breakdown of the family. Look at the lack of education opportunity. Look at the lack of small business entrepreneurship in the inner city community. That's what Colin should have been talking about, instead of parroting these talking points that I don't know who he got them from.
All right, let's bring the viewers in. Viewers, now is your chance to vote at home on Twitter. Should the NFL punish Colin Kaepernick for sitting during the national anthem? Tweet yes or no using hashtag Greta. We'll show you your live Twitter votes throughout the show. Lieutenant Colonel, tell me, is there any way he can get out of this? I mean, let's say that he just made bad judgment one day, and he certainly has created a lot of noise in the sports world and beyond that. Is there some way he backs out of that and still is able to sort of express his deep-seated feeling about, what's going on in the nation?
Yeah, I think so, and that was one of the things that I recommended in the piece that I wrote. First and foremost, he should give a humble apology to this country and to the men and women who serve and, stand to make that last full measure of devotion. And I think that he should take a hiatus away from the NFL football season. He can go over to Helmand Province in Afghanistan and be there with those men and women that are protecting his rights and his freedoms and affording him the privilege to be able to be a multimillionaire one percenter. And throw the football with them out in one of those combat zones and tell them how much you appreciate it. I think if he does something like that, the American people will understand that he has probably saw the ills of his ways and, his misguided comments.
Why do you think he sat down the other night?
Well, this is a very trendy thing to go on, right now in the United States of America, to stand up and, speak against your country. And lots of times these are people that have never been to any other country, and they don't understand, how so many people want to come to the United States of America and earn that title of American because of what we stand for. Now, are there issues in the black community? Absolutely right. But they're not issues that are resulting from anything that the American people have done. And if he has a beef with law enforcement in the United States of America. He should not speak out trying to undermine the rule of law, which means that people have to go through a due process. You know, we saw the false narrative of hands up, don't shoot there in Ferguson, Missouri. And the other thing is the NFL needs to clarify their positions, because here in Dallas, we were just told that the Dallas Cowboys could now have a decal on their helmet to recognize those 5 police officers that were killed. But yet, you know, we're going to see what happens with young Colin.
All right, stay with us for a second. I want to bring in former Marine bomb technician, Staff Sergeant Johnny Joey Jones, who tweeted this. Hey, Kaepernick, I don't have legs, but I'll stand with enough pride for both of us every time my national anthem plays. Good evening, sir. And obviously you have a strong reaction to Kaepernick refusing to stand during the national anthem. Your thoughts, sir?
Absolutely. Good evening, Greta. I actually took issue with his comments afterwards. Refusing to stand, that's one thing, and it offends me, it really does, but that is free speech. But his comments equated patriotism or pride in this country or that anthem to supporting oppression. Listen, by no means is our country perfect, and by all means, let's address actual issues and work to solve them. But when you sit there and equate my pride in my country to a bigot in some other place, or the ones that are in this country to the 300 million that aren't that way, I take issue with that, and I'm going to tell you about it, especially when you use your platform that way.
You know, sitting down was obviously a huge statement. Then he dug his heels in a little bit deeper with things that he said afterwards. I don't know if upon some reflection, you know, that, you know, he might want to sort of try to, you know, unbury himself from this. Is there any way that he can sort of restore what happened and try to, you know, get back, you know, your confidence in him and your admiration for him?
Absolutely. I mean, America is a country of coming together and forgiveness. That flag and that anthem, that stands for the people that fought the Civil War and united this country. That stands for the people that fought for civil rights and made this country a little bit better. And it stands for the people that are working hard every single day to fix these issues that do exist. Hey, listen, I come from a small town in Georgia. I've seen racism. I've also seen people grow and learn. I've seen ignorance turn into compassion. And you don't do it by drawing more lines in the sand. As a service member, it's offensive for people not to stand for the national anthem. But as an American, it's offensive for you to equate my pride to bigots or oppression or other things that are wrong in this country but will be fixed.
Colonel, he's now probably had a little extra time to think about it, and I've, you know, asked both of you for what suggestions how he can, you know, restore himself. If he elects not to and digs his heels in even deeper, then what? Should the NFL do something?
Well, there are consequences to your actions, and you know, I just want to say that what you have on your show tonight are 2 young men, both from Georgia, from different backgrounds, but guess what? We both took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. We both took an oath to stand and make sure that we defended this way of life. And if this young man does not understand how this is such a great nation and it affords opportunities for young Johnny and Alan West to be together, you know, we're missing out on what this country is. And the NFL is going to have to make a tough decision, because when you look at the St. Louis Rams, who came out with the hands up, don't shoot, that was a false narrative. You look at the denial of the decal on the Dallas Cowboys helmet. What are they going to do in the instance of Colin?
Staff Sergeant, what should the NFL do, if anything?
I think the NFL has an excellent opportunity to set a policy and abide by it. I don't think they should ask Colin Kaepernick to stand. I think they should allow those decals on the Dallas Cowboys helmets, but that's neither here nor there. I hope that Colin Kaepernick comes out and further explains what he's passionate about, and that he understands that's not the 330 million Americans that fall under that anthem and support it. That's the ones that we're going to weed out, and that's the things we're going to fix. And, you know, I believe that's what he'll do. I pray that's what he'll do. I pray for him. And I know this country is better than what we're seeing, and I know we're going to get there.
Colonel West, Sergeant Jones.
Greta,
yes.
And Greta, if I could say, opening day for the NFL is 9/11. I don't think that Colin wants the optic of him sitting on the sideline.
I'm sure he doesn't, and I'm sure his team doesn't. I'm sure the owners don't want that. I don't think the fans want that. Anyway, Colonel, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, Sergeant Jones. And the San Francisco